A very good afternoon to our esteemed guest, Dr. Mohit Batra, and all the attendees. This is Tithi Kanthe, Vice Chairperson, Finance and Analytics Club, Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, cordially welcoming you all. So, let me start with a very simple question as to how many of us actually focus on our personal finance all by ourselves. I'm sure that very scanty amount of people might actually be doing that. So let me assure you that by the end of this webinar, you all will be definitely encouraged to take a keen interest in finance and budgeting by yourselves. Particularly for students who are the major attendees for today's event, investing early on in life can give you the benefit of compounding so that you can hoard a sizable corpus by the time you retire. Tax liabilities are also low in early 20s, so investing can definitely give you an edge over others. It can also bring in discipline in your future spending habits. So warm up your seats to lend your ears to one of the most influential business tycoons of India, Dr. Mohit Batra. I now ask Nikita to take over and introduce the speaker.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nikita Jobi. It is a great honor for me to introduce and welcome our keynote speaker on behalf of Finance and Analytics Club of Sardar Patel Institute of Technology. He is none other than Dr. Mohit Badra, the promoter and CEO of Markets Mojo. Dr. Batra is an MBA Gold medalist and has PhD in financial technology with more than 25 years of financial service experience. In his extensive and remarkable career, he has primarily been a serial entrepreneur. In late 1998, he co-founded Money Control, a popular website for news and tracking of price and values of different listed stocks. Post-merger of Money Control with CNBC, he was the CEO of Web19 till 2004. Then moving to ABN AMRO, a Dutch bank, as a program head of wealth management business. Dr. Batra was also director with Motilal Oswal to set up their wealth business. In 2009, he joined Alchemy Capital Management as the group CEO and was with them till 2015. In late 2015, he, with his colleague Mr. Joyson Thomas, founded their very own company, Markets Mojo, which is one of India's top-rated stock and portfolio research platform. Dr. Batra was also awarded with the title of Most Promising Business Leader of Asia 2020-21 by the Economic Times. Now, we request Mohit sir to address the gathering. We would be delighted with the expertise and knowledge in every possible way. So the floor is all yours.
Thanks a lot, Nikita. Thanks a lot, Titi. Lovely to be talking to all of you. I know this is the first time I'm talking to. Normally, people call me to talk to various cadres of financial backgrounded professionals, but this is the first time I'm talking to a category of students who come from a different profile and and are keen on understanding the early stage adoption of financial planning into your lives. I was addressing close to 2,000 people yesterday, and I explained this in a very simple way: is that if everybody of us can think of financial literacy as having two jobs, you will all soon graduate and you will get into your jobs. But typically, if you were to look at, and I'm talking in financial domain again, if you were to look at the appreciation of your salaries that you will see over the next 15, 20, 30 years, you may join at a certain salary, you may jump, you may get a 50% increase in salary and so on and so forth. But your true appreciation of salary will be typically in the range of 10 to 12% a year. Right? So 10 to 12% is where your income grows. And in the markets, what we try and do is that we try and grow the income by around 15 to 20%. Right? So when you grow the income by 15 to 20% and your salaries are growing 10%, that's the only way you can create wealth. Otherwise, your expenses, your cost of doing running a family, cost of having a home loan, various other liabilities that you will face moving forward, your salary will more than just cover that. We live in a country where inflation rates are around 7-8%. We live in a country where FD rates are around 8-odd%. We live in a country where salaries grow around 10-15%, right? So, and we call it as inflation adjusted returns. So when your income is growing at around 10-15% and inflation is growing at around 7-8%, what you're typically getting in hand is just about 7%. So that's how you need to look at life. And over a period of time, whether you like it or not, but you would always have two jobs. Otherwise, wealth creation journey becomes, not that easy for all of us to start early. I started investing very early when I was, I think, in my MBA days itself, and I went on to the journey of having a house in the first 2-3 years of my first job, and having a house which was a big house. So, big in Bombay and big in terms of cost. And all of that was made possible not from my salaries. It was only made possible from the whole financial planning aspect of looking at life. Now, for all you guys who personally feel that, you don't come from a financial background, even I didn't come from a financial background. I was a science student, and I then got into MBA. In MBA, I chose finance as my option of major, and I topped my class. Then I did my CFA, and then I did PhD along with that. So there's a lot of things that I had to do to try and reach to where I reached. But having said that, there are some basic principles that you and me can apply, which you don't need educational background for. And those are the principles that we will talk about today. So to start with, there is a change of mindset that we need to have. A lot of us are very insecure about who we are. A lot of us become very insecure in the jobs that we do, and we are not very optimistic in terms of where we are going to go when we get into a job. Some people come to us and say that they lost their job, or some people say that, listen, my salaries are so much, how can I do any kind of financial planning out there? I think those are all lame excuses. You can start financial planning whether you earn 10,000 rupees or you earn 10 lakh rupees a month. There's nothing to say that you cannot start like that. So the first thing that I always tell all the people is that, you will go 10, 15, 20 years. Your current worries are the absolute smallest set of worries that you will face in your life when you move forward. When you look back at your childhood, look back at a lot of episodes that came which were devastating at that point in time. But when you look at your life today, you overcame those. So only if you could have that, mindset that whatever you're going to go through today, or whatever financial aspects of life that you will touch today are very minuscule in terms of where you would reach, and you are broadly optimistic about yourself. When you're broadly optimistic about yourself, two things happen. One is that your mind starts believing that you will create wealth all your life, A. And B is that your risk-taking capabilities increase. Because you know that I'm going to earn money every single day of my life till the time I'm working. And hence, you don't typically become conservative in the way that you look at growing your wealth. You become a little more optimistic in terms of what you have is something that you can invest. So that's the reason that you go with that whole process of being an optimist in your life rather than being a pessimist. So it all starts from there. Otherwise, we will typically not end up anywhere. Now, if you look at the country, the issue with our country is that the investment surplus that we have, any household has, 36% of that goes into fixed deposits, right? Then you have maybe 30 to 40% of that goes into property. And then you have maybe close to just about 3% that goes into equity markets. So when you have a 36-40% going into property, which obviously is not yielding you anything, it's a house that you live in. And then you have close to around 35, 36%, which is lying in the bank. Now, when something is lying in the bank, it's not earning anything for you, right? Even if you see a fixed deposit, it's actually on almost a 0 to 1% real interest that you earn on it. Because if you were to look at an FD interest rate of 8% versus inflation of 7%, you would say that cancel, that 7% inflation growth that is happening, you're actually earning only 1%. So our country is very unique in a way. And, if you see our equity markets or markets in which some reputed investors would typically invest, we would see that the markets have, just to give you an example, over the last, say, 5 odd years, has grown at, say, 14 to 15 odd percent. Portfolios, if you invest in equity markets, some of the portfolios that we run personally have grown at 40% year on year. 40% year on year is basically means that in 2 to 2.5 years, you're doubling up your money or doubling up your savings. After having such a deep equity market, people still shy away from investing in equity markets, and they put their money in fixed deposits because they have a sense of security, right? They feel that my money is secure in a bank. Now, if you come from a sense of security, trust me, you will retire with a sense of security, because there is nothing that you would generate over a period of time. I don't think so. I've seen a single wealthy man in my whole life who's not taken some calculated risk in terms of growing his own personal capital. And if you were one of those who have either got a dream of making sure that you start planning your life early on in life, and also making sure that you grow, then you need to look at opportunities to invest. Now, when you look at these opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities that will come in front of you. Let's assume that if you were to break this whole set of investment opportunities into 2 categories, one is equities, the other is debt. Equity instruments are things that you can invest as direct shares in the equity market, or you can buy mutual funds which deal in equity markets. And on the debt side, you can put it in a bank FD, or you can buy debt mutual funds, you can buy straight debt. So, whatever you may see on the other side. Equity typically gives you around 14, 15 to 20%. I'm talking about 10, 20-year averages. And debt would give you around 7, 8% post-tax. Right? So these are 2 clear categories. For you to survive and create wealth, you cannot be dependent on just a debt investment and put that money in FD. You need to be looking at equity markets in a way that you can grow your capital. Now, how you get into the habit of growing your money? I used to, when I was of your age, or maybe a little older than you guys, I started investing in equity markets as if, it was the end of the day, which is, if I have even 10,000 rupees in a month, which I would save, I would straight away put it into a mutual fund, or I would put it into an equity instrument. I did that for 4-5 years, and I was able to save close to 50 lakhs. Right. And when I'm saying this, it is not something that you can say that, Mohit, you started, at a very senior position. I didn't start at a very senior position. I, in fact, would start at 1/10 of the salaries that you guys would start at, because I'm talking 96, 97, at that time when you typically start. So the relevance of when to invest. There is a lot of investors who would ask me, Mohit, what is the right time to invest? I would say the right time to invest is when you have the money. There is no timing in the market that works. There is no, I need to have a certain income level in the market. When you have any savings, and I'm saying any savings in the sense that you have 5,000 rupees upwards to, say, whatever amount that you may talk about, that is the right time to invest. To create that discipline, you should always start, if you are not somebody who's from the financial services, you can start with an SIP, as we call it, systematic investment plan, into mutual funds. You can start there. Or if you have keen interest in equity markets, then you can start buying up blue chip stocks. You can go to a site like Markets Mojo and they'll tell you what to buy. And you can start buying those stocks out there. The basic thing that you need to have in your mind is that you don't have one job. You have 2 jobs. and I'm saying this today and you will remember this in the next 20, 30 years of your working, is that one job will not lead you anywhere. A lot of business people today, a lot of people who are in jobs today realize that growing their investments makes them much more wealthier than earning itself. You can earn. You are there to earn and you will earn all your life. But that earning will not grow. In fact, it will degrow if you do not manage it with proper financial planning tools, or if you don't invest that money to try and generate money from itself. Sense of compounding, as you and me learn, is not because of a CAGR formula or compounded annual growth rate formula. These are easy formulas that you can understand and I can tell you also. But the concept level understanding of, if I earn and if my earnings are only growing by say 10-15% in this lifetime, that money that I get in my bank account, can I grow that 20%, 30%? Right? That is how very large investors think, and that is the base thing that I want to tell you today, that you have 2 jobs whenever you want to start that job. And you have to take your job number 2 very seriously in terms of how to grow your income exponentially. There are investors that I have seen in my lifetime who have left their jobs and become pure investors because they feel that I cannot earn in my business the amount that I can earn by investing that money in the right way. There are investors who take this very seriously and they know that growth of capital is more important sometimes than earning, because you and me will earn any day. Wherever we go with education, somebody will earn 1 lakh rupees more or 5 lakh rupees more. Somebody will earn 5-10 lakh rupees less. But more so, people who are earning more and who are running after their jobs and not doing financial planning will end up losing to people who are smarter, who look at finance as a topic and then they grow that out. Now, there are various ways in which you can do that. You have various sites like Money Control or Markets Mojo. You don't have to be an expert when you start learning. There are very simple tools nowadays that you say that, okay, I want to invest 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. Tell me where to invest. We do that for lakhs of investors today. We make their life easy. You don't have to be a domain expert to understand finance. But yes, we tell people that you need to have the discipline. When we tell you to do something, you need to do it. And when we guide you on some things, then you need to follow that whole guidance. So in terms of various profiles, the different profiles of investors in the market are right from conservative to very aggressive. You need to decide which side you want to be, because as the definition says, conservative investors typically take very less risk and generate very less return, and very aggressive investors would take larger risk and generate very large returns. The basic premise in which you choose who you are is your mindset, right? If you are somebody who's looking at, I want to make money on a daily basis and all, you will not make that anytime. It is just about your mental disposition of trying to understand that if you invest, how much time can you wait till the time you need that money back? If the money is required to you in less than 3 years' time, then you don't invest in equities. You invest through other instruments like mutual funds and debt mutual funds. And if you can spare that money for 3 years plus, then ideally you should go aggressive, right? Because in none of the 3 to 5 year cycle in equity markets, investors have ever lost money. They may come at absolutely the bottom, get out at absolutely the top, or come at the top and then lose money and then maybe get out. But if you look at 3 to 5 year period, the loss is virtually nothing. People typically end up making 15 and 20% kind of a return. Again, when you're talking about 20% kind of a return, you're talking about 4 years doubling up your money, right? Now, in terms of the whole concept of a life plan and where people miss out, just to give you how your lives will pan out. So you maybe at a certain age, till around say 30, you will get your firming. You will be running around getting your basic things in place in life. You will be generating cash, but you would try and hold that cash because that's the first time you are generating that cash. Towards around 28, 30, most of you would be married or maybe a little later. Until around 40 years, you will have children and you will completely be swamped in buying your first house and then trying to cope up with the expenses of your kids. That story will not end till you're 50. So when you look for a right time and you say that I have just got a job, right? Or maybe the next reason that you will give me is just got a house, or I've just gotten married, or I've just got a kid, or I've just got another kid now, and I'm now giving their education fees. This whole story will go on. Only losers go by this story. You have to make sure, within that story, there is a pool of money that you're keeping aside and growing religiously. And before you realize, before you reach to the age of 40, 45, right, your pool will become so big that you would say that if I had not done this, I don't know where I would be living as per my salary on a monthly basis and trying to make money. So there are certain, the difference in between people who are rich and who plan their life is they don't wait for the first of the month. I tell very senior leaders also today that if you wait for the first of the month, you're not a successful person in your life, because you're waiting for salary on first of every month. And if you're still doing that after 15, 20 years being in a job, then you miss something in terms of how you need to plan your life. And most of our people, if you don't get out of that habit, that first of month is just a marker where I get some money, where it's not, my life doesn't depend on it. My life is getting taken care of parallelly in the way that I'm investing. Your lifelong problem will get resolved and you will create exponential wealth for your whole family as well as for yourself. Though there are some mental worries that we all go through. The mental worries are of the worries of what will happen if something happens to me. When you are 30, 35, specifically, I'm giving you, when you'll have your family and your kids. At that point in time, a man always goes through some huge mental worries in terms of what will happen if I die, or what will happen if somebody falls sick. Right? And I always tell investors that for you to plan your life, you have to first remove these worries. There is one worry which is of a job, which I told you that you will earn all your life, whether 1 month here or there, doesn't matter. The second is the worry of your life that you have, that if something happens to me, what will happen, right? That worry should be addressed when you're around 30, 35 by virtue of taking a term insurance plan. That's the first thing that I will tell you, that at that point in time, look at your total expenses, plan it for the next 15 years and say that I will simply take a term insurance plan. A term insurance plan is nothing. For your age, you'll be able to take a 5 crore insurance plan at some maybe 30,000 rupees a year or something. So that you know that, okay, now if something happens to me, there is a pool of capital that is kept aside. You always start like that. You cannot go with the approach that till 50, 60, nothing happens to me. Planning is not done like that. Planning is done by making sure that you plug every hole of thought process that you have. So when you have a thought process of fear in your mind, either by losing a job or by virtue of something happening to you, you need to plug that hole. And if the cost of that is 30, 40,000 rupees a year, I would say blindly take it. The next set of hole plugging happens at around 50 years, when you say that now, if something happens to me, then what will happen, because I brought up my kids. And that's the time you take a larger insurance term cover, which goes on till you are living maybe 75, 80 years and all. This is typically known as, first of all, stage 1 of investing, wherein you are removing your worries. So that is one step. The second step that comes once you've removed this worry, the second step is financial planning, where you basically say that what kind of an investor I am. Am I an aggressive investor? I'm a conservative investor. The younger you are, you would feel that you want to be aggressive, or you are aggressive investor. But that is not what your true personality may be. What happens when you buy a stock, or what happens when you get into equity markets and one day your portfolio is down 5%, 10%. A lot of people who claim to be aggressive clients typically get shaken up completely and they take wrong decisions out there. It is not what you want, it is how much risk you can take. When I say risk, it's not just risk of financial loss, it's also mental risk and emotional risk. Right? We don't want to go through mental and emotional agony. So I would always suggest that you start as a moderate customer, which is before you realize what kind of, are you conservative or are you aggressive. Now, what's a moderate customer? A moderate customer will invest 50% of his savings into equities and 50% of his savings into debt. Debt, you can choose any kind of a long-term debt mutual fund. You can go to any of the sites. You don't have to do this research yourself. They'll tell you what are the top debt mutual funds that are there. Or equity, you can again invest either through mutual funds, or you can invest directly through having a demat account and directly buying stocks. Again, including our site, a lot of people can advise you in terms of what stocks to buy. Your job out there is to have the discipline. I am not expecting this class to start understanding concepts. That's not what I'm expecting you to do. If you want to understand concept, you can come deeper in front of me and I'll explain you those concepts. But the only thing that I am today telling you out of this whole experience is that, do you have the discipline to make sure that you follow the advice? Do you have the discipline to make sure that whatever happens on a monthly basis, I'm going to put some money aside, which I'm not going to touch, which is something for my long-term growth? As soon as you have that discipline, you will grow much faster than 3 batches above people or 5 batches above people. And I've personally seen that. Today, I hire people, or when I was even 26, 27, I was hiring people from IIM Ahmedabad's, Calcutta's 10-year experience than me. Now, when I look at these people, and when I was looking, it is not that I'm exceptionally brilliant or bright, but I had something which they didn't have, which was essentially the capability to understand the right concept which mattered to making a great life professionally and having the discipline of following it. That's all. It is not that, I can tell you that maybe all of those kids were intelligent than me. But in terms of what actions you take, are your actions different? Because once you guys come out of an education institute, it is a war zone. Everybody is in a war zone. How you make your small house and how you make sure that your strategy is disciplined strategy, whether it is professionally speaking, how you grow, the right steps that you take, or it is financially how you grow, not by just jumping around, but making sure that you are financially planning your life ahead of others, will define who you are. Right? Risk-taking capability is not everybody's ball game. I can tell you that a lot of people think that, yeah, I can take risk, but it's not as easy as what you and me today think. Because once you start working, you will understand what I'm saying. But having said that, I can assure you that from this group itself, 4 or 5 people will be able to draw some inspiration and go back and think that, how do I need to do this? I have 5,000 rupees. We used to play like this, right? As if you have, chutta paisa. As soon as you have 5,000, 10,000, I would say, put it here. 5,000, 10,000, put it here. I would go like this. There are people, and I'm not saying this because I've seen people come from different fields. There are people who are worth 500 to 1,000 crores who have no background on finance, but who have followed this practice. 500 to 1,000 crores. Not that their earnings were so much. It's just that with this discipline, their earnings became so much and the compounding effect came so huge. So huge. Some portfolios have grown, 5x, some portfolios have grown 50x over a period of time. And before you realize that compounding will hit you like a storm, where you will feel that I have created such disproportionate wealth that I don't know what to do. I had taken a home loan in the year 2002, and it was a 50 lakh home loan. And I had decided that by 2005, I will close the home loan down. At that time, I was running Money Control, so we were quite hand-strapped. It was a startup. And I used to save, my savings post EMI was maybe around 50,000-70,000 rupees. I started. Now in this situation, what would you do? If you have 50,000-70,000 rupees saving and you have a home loan, which you're paying for, and you've just taken a home and I had just gotten married, I decided that in 3 years' time, I will close this home loan down. It was a large home loan. It was almost a 40 lakh home loan. I'm talking at that time, 2002. For me, in 3 years' time, so I put my numbers in place. I said that, okay, in 3 years' time, what can I do? Now, trust me, my number, मैं जैसे number रखूंगा, आप रखेंगे, it's the same thing. It is not that I have some magic way in which I make my spreadsheet, or I just also wrote in a diary simply that how do I do this, right? For me to be doing that, I curbed all my expenses, right? I curbed all my expenses and I went completely aggressive. Please understand, for you to do that, you need a lot of guts, because at that time, people will go completely conservative. I went completely aggressive, but I took risks that were absolutely calculated. I said, I'm going to invest in only large caps, in large stocks, where my money loss doesn't happen. But I would take an investment philosophy where the risks are there, but the return opportunities are the highest. And when I did that in 2005, I removed that loan, I think 2 months before my own personal deadline happened. So when you put your eyes to it, and not that my salaries increased. So I did that primarily because I had some saving 5-7 lakhs. So I put that in, and that grew. I had 300% return on that. So that grew, and your monthly incomes were growing. If I had not done that, I would have been servicing that loan even today. If I had not done that. That is what 98% of Indians will do if they don't understand the concept of financial planning. That is what all of us will do. We'll be able to create one house in our lifetime, maybe 2 houses in our lifetime, but that's all, right? If you can create a capital where you can have A, the liberty of buying any house that you feel like, and B, whenever you buy a bigger house, if you take it on loan, cleaning it out in say 3 to 4 or 5 years, if you have that capability, why wouldn't you do that? And as I said, don't ever come back to me and say, Mohit, you are from the finance field. We are not. There are enough experts available if you were to take the effort. The thing that we do is that we're very reasonable people. You know what is the definition of being reasonable? Being reasonable is that we have a reason for everything. I once went to a Landmark forum. There is a forum by the name of Landmark Forum, and it was a 3-day forum. And they told us the whole definition for 3 days was only about how to not reason anything. Right? So one day in the morning, I went in and I was, I think 5-7 minutes late for that workshop. I'm talking about when I was, just about 24, 25, I just come to Bombay. And when I was going in, that guy at the counter stopped me and said that you're late. I said, yeah, I'm late. I'm sorry, but He said, why are you late? So I said, I'm late because he said, no, why are you late? I said, I'm late because I took a train. He said, why are you late? I said, I am late. That's what I'm trying to explain you. I am late because he said, why are you late? So he asked me the same question half an hour. I was trying to answer him and he would cut me as soon as I'll say because. And that was the lesson of that 3 days. You are late because you're late. Yes, there's no reason. All your reasons are personal. You are wealthy because you're wealthy. You're not wealthy because you're not wealthy. You can't say that I didn't have capital. I had I had this problem. My father was not well. The minute you take that approach with yourself, that I can't have a reason only. You want to be rich, you will be rich. You want to have a financial planning right from day one of your life, you will have that. There is no way in which anybody can come and alter your plan. Otherwise, we are the most reasonable community in this whole world. We are all Ekta Kapoors. We will give you stories. Everybody will give no, sob stories. You don't know, today you don't know what financial conditions I've come from. I don't know what financial conditions have come from. Today, if you ever find any unsuccessful person, any unsuccessful person, he'll be able to give you 30, 40 things of why he is unsuccessful. And not a single thing he will talk about his own capabilities or what he didn't do. He would say, you know what, my problem was here. I then lost a job. Then this happened. Then my, parents fell sick. Then this big thing happened. Then I took a loan. Then, I had to support my sister. Then this happened. You will have all sorts of reasons. My question to you is very simple. With that, all sorts of reason, can you put aside 20% of your salary and invest on a monthly basis? The minute you screw yourself on that concept, you say that I'm putting a screw on that concept in my mind, that 20% I have to save. So now, if you decide that 20% you have to save, how will you save? You will save by reducing your expenses, by reducing your lifestyle, by doing what you feel like. But you can't give yourself a reason. Because sooner than you realize, within 5 to 10 years, when you'll realize what you've done, you will not be wanting to take a home loan because you would have created a home from your savings out there. So there is a lot of merit in doing that. But as I said at the start of this forum, very few people understand the concept of saving and investing and understand the concept of having two jobs, right? Number two is that don't tell me you don't understand this subject. There is enough and enough available. I know that some of the questions are coming up, which is on IPOs and equity market and all this. So some of you guys already know it, right? But when you have the resources today available, Markets Mojo today runs equity research. We have over 30% market share in the market. We today advise lakhs of investors. And, we've launched Markets Mojo in 20 different countries. We have a product in the US, in Canada, Mexico. We have products everywhere in the world today. We cover 60% of the global markets today. We are a homegrown startup, started 5 years back, homegrown startup, not taken a single rupee from anybody. We invested our own money in it and we started it. And we are one of the largest advisory firms in the country today, and soon we'll be one of the largest advisory firms across the globe. So all of this that we've done is with a complete zid, it's stubbornness to create. And that is the stubbornness that you need to have to create wealth right from first day of your life. That if you don't have that stubbornness to create, you will not be creating anything, and you will have huge amount of reasons where you will be able to justify yourself and the others out there. So with that is a base premise, but I want to take questions so that I can build in the later part of this within the questions itself, because I know that, I think every 10 seconds there's a question that is popping up out there. So let's take up some questions to dig deeper into this. Is there any moderator for taking questions, or how do we do this, Nikita?
Yes, sir. I'll read out the questions one by one. So first one is from Shubham Hule. He asks that, is the entry of such big IPOs in a single year is a reason for market crash as money is being get pumped in the weak fundamental IPO?
No, the people are coming out with IPOs because there was a lot of weight of COVID over the last 2 years where people didn't come up with IPOs. Over the last 2 years, what has happened is a lot of retail participation has increased in the market. People were at home. They started investing because they wanted to make some returns. And there's a lot of participation growth that has happened, and that a lot of companies want to benefit that retail participation growth. So hence the IPOs. Fundamental weakness in the economy is not there. Whatever is there is typically short-term in terms of the epidemics, overcasting on the markets. But I think India has kind of held itself very well. When you see the first COVID incidents happened towards March of last year, the markets corrected a lot. Last 1 year, the market's gone up over 70%. So it's not that people are not aware of these risks. the money that is going in is not hot and cold money. It is fundamentally going into good counters. So when we see where the money flow is, the money flow is not in trading opportunities. It's going into opportunities where I see that the fundamental growth is there. So these IPO opportunities will keep happening. Which IPO to invest and all that stuff is a different thing. But the IPO opportunity is not backed by fundamental weakness in the market. I think it is backed by potential of fundamental strength that will come in post the COVID episode that happened.
Okay. So the next question is by Neer.
So the next question is from Neer Khandor. He's asking how to buy Nifty through a Demat account.
Sorry, I think there was some disturbance.
Yes, sir. I'll read out the question. So the next question is from Neer Khandor. Sir, how to buy Nifty through Demat account?
You can buy a Nifty fund if you want. You can buy an ETF through mutual funds. There are ETF funds on Nifty that are available through various mutual funds. You can buy an ETF if you just want to invest in Nifty 50. So there are various index-related ETFs that are available with mutual funds. You can just buy a straight fund which mirrors the whole Nifty, or even Sensex for that matter. So whichever index you want to mirror, just do a search on Nifty ETFs or Sensex ETFs, and you can buy it from the mutual funds itself.
Thank you, sir. So Ruchi from the chat box is asking that is stock market the only way for being financially independent?
No, not at all. That's not what I mean. Stock market is one of the places where you can invest, and that is meant for more aggressive to very aggressive investors. You can invest through mutual funds. Mutual funds give you an opening to invest in stock market as well as in debt instruments. So you can invest through mutual funds onto the debt side as well. Within debt, you will have long-term debt, short-term debt, corporate debt. So there's a lot of various kind of debt instruments that are available through the mutual fund. My whole concept of telling you that by putting money in your savings account, it's not going to earn anything. The money will only grow once it is outside your bank. Money will not go in your bank account. It has to go outside your bank. Now, whether it goes into a mutual fund scheme, it goes into debt mutual funds, it goes into REITs, it goes into equity market, those are the decisions that you need to take. But otherwise, there's no growth, and equity market is not just the only place to invest.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sachin Shenoy has asked if, sir, there are so many tools on Markets Mojo. Would you suggest any methodology for conducting an analysis?
Sorry?
So there are so many tools on Markets Mojo. Would you suggest any methodology for conducting an analysis?
No, so Markets Mojo, I'll tell you what it does. It's basically we do analysis through the system. We look at around 550 odd parameters per stock before we give it a rating. When we look at these 550 parameters, there are 4 broad parameters in which we qualify them. One is how's the quality of the company. When we look at quality, we look at 5-year fundamental growth, P&L, cash flows, and balance sheets. That comes under the quality aspect. Then we look at valuation. Is this stock the right stock to pick up at the right price today? Then we look at last quarter results that the company declared. And the fourth thing that we look at is how's the technical trend of the company. Is it in a bullish zone or not? So 550 formulas fit into these 4 broad parameters. And looking at these 4 broad parameters, we give an overall score, which can be from a strong buy to a strong sell on a company. We run over 80% success rate when we give a call, which is the highest in the industry. Industry is at around 40%. We give around 81% success rate on our call. So when we say a strong buy, the stock goes up. When we say a strong sell, the stock goes down. This is typically made for investors who do not understand financial markets that much, and they want to take our advice in terms of the modeling piece. We have real-time research reports that are available on the site. So you can just go to any stock, say Infosys, or any stock that you feel like, and you can just download a research report also. If you don't understand stocks, You can even go to the model portfolio section and you have to just out there put your amount. Say that I have 1 lakh rupees to invest. Where do I invest? And we'll give you a 10 stock portfolio. And with the quantities, you buy that through a broker. We are not a broker. You buy that through a broker and we'll then guide you over a period of time which stock to sell and which next stock to buy. So you have stock research, you have model portfolios, and if you have external portfolio, which you have 2-3 stocks, there is also a tool of portfolio optimizer where you just upload your current portfolio and we will start advising you on your current portfolio. So that is what we overall do for the Indian investors.
Yes, sir. The next question is from Malhar. He is asking as to how do loss-making companies like Zomato enter the market, as SEBI is having rule to have PAT positive for 3 years.
Yeah, so that concept is going away now. You are basically, see, we are going and following the US concept of valuations now. So even if you look at Amazon, typically, Amazon has been a loss-making company for I think 10 to 12 years before it started making profits. So that whole concept has been taken away of 3-year profitability nowadays. You have to show your growth of business and let the investors decide whether they want to give you value or not. Now this whole IPO market, according to me, is one of the biggest shams in the market. Why would you also invest in, you will not believe in Zomato because you look at the P&L, but why would you invest in Zomato? Because we are all greedy people. Everybody wants to make that 3, 4, 5x. They feel that Amarko allotment aa jayega, and then at the time when the stock opens, it will open up and then I will sell it and get out. That is what kills the investor in the longer run. So there are 4,000 odd listed companies in this country. I would never touch an IPO, and neither have I ever touched an IPO. I don't look at an IPO because the transparency is so low. It has been a public listed company and now it has come as an IPO. You will get enough time to get into that company. Provided people have that greed of getting in early and trying to, at it opens up, I will sell and get out. Those are the kind of investors. I mean, a lot of people, there are 6 more IPOs coming in. They won't even know the names of this company, but I can tell you sitting today that all 6 will get oversubscribed. Because the concept that people go with this IPO है तो उसके अंदर मेरे को 5x times मिलना चाहिए. Then I will put an application and that application का allotment will be 1/10 or whatever basis the subscription formula. So I don't think so. I would ever look at IPO as a serious instrument to invest for 2 reasons. One is that the company transparency is not set as yet, because having a listed company and having an unlisted company are 2 very different ball game. Number 2, that you will never get the allotment that you're looking at. You will get 1/10, 1/5 and all this stuff. You'll get some small allotment, but the halla is much more than that. And number 3 is that you yourself are going in without any long-term outlook on a company, right? I can tell you that of all the investors who invested in Zomato, not even 5% have any kind of a long-term prospect for Zomato. They have invested because they want to make money in the shorter run, and that is fine. But when you talk about, this is more, IPO is more a trading opportunity. Right? You get in, you get the price benefit, you get out. If you're talking about wealth creation over a period of time, it's a very different journey altogether. You look at companies that you like, you look at companies that will do well, have been doing well consistently and will create wealth. That's where you go in and you park 90% of your funds. आपको उसके बाद IPO में invest करना है, trading करना है, that you do. But majority of your fund allocation has to be towards companies that can grow you 15, 20, 30%. We today run a model portfolio that is compounded at 43%. We've given higher returns than every single mutual fund in the country and every single portfolio manager in the country. Every single guy. 43% compounding for the last 5 years. And we've invested in 10 companies that we believe in. Right? So, and that portfolio is available. You just say that I want to invest 1 lakh and that portfolio is available. So IPO is a risky opportunity, and please, you want to make that short-term money, you make it, but it's not a long-term goal creator.
Okay, sir. So Piyush Patel has asked, what's your opinion on gold versus cryptocurrency?
I don't track cryptocurrency, neither do I track gold. We are experts in equity, and that is what it's not that I have my personal views. I have my personal views. But I would not like to share it on an open forum. But is there anything on the equity side that I can help you? I'm more than excited to help you. But crypto and gold is something that, as an organization, we don't subscribe to.
Yes, sir. Aditya Sangvi is asking, would investing in real estate be aggressive or conservative as an asset for giving out rent?
Investing in real estate, according to me, today is a conservative way of making money. Last 15-20 years has taken a lot of juice out of the real estate market. The price hikes have been there over the last 15-20 years now. And according to me, moving forward, if I were to look at the next 5 to 10 years, there are 3 factors with which I would look at real estate with real caution. One is that across the country, the supply is at least 3 to 4x than the demand, right? Which basically will drive the market, the prices of the properties down. We are a very cash market. There's a lot of black money in the system. There's a lot of cash that rolls around the system, and that is the reason. That is one of the prime reasons that the property prices are not transparently dropping, because a lot of builders have the buying capacity and holding capacity of real estate in the market. Now, when that happens, I would say at a certain stage the potato will drop. At certain stage, the rates will start correcting. So that's my opinion number 2. Opinion number 3 is that I would typically, it's a blocked investment. When I say blocked investment, there are opportunities to multiplication of your money that are available across. Real estate is one of the most illiquid opportunities where, once you're stuck, you're stuck. It is not a price point where you can get out at a T+1 or a T+2 kind of a settlement period. And number 4th, there is no concurrency of income. When I say concurrency of income, there is the rental yield in this country is around 2%, 3%. आपको वैसे भी FD में 7-8% मिलता है. इस पे तो आपको your rental yields are 2%, 3%. So even if you buy a real estate and you put it up on rent, it is, according to me, one of the worst investments that you could ever do by putting it up on rent. So capital appreciation it doesn't look good. Rental yield doesn't look good. It's an illiquid investment. And overall, I feel that the property rates may come down. So I would say that in terms of profile, I would say it's a very conservative way of looking at things.
Okay, so thank you. Hiten Bafna asked that, is SIP a good investment?
Yeah, SIP is a way to invest. So an SIP is a very good disciplined way to invest, to start investing. So I would say definitely yes. SIP, you can start an SIP of whatever amount. You can change that amount at any given point in time. So SIP definitely is a good disciplined way to invest.
Avdesh Vora is asking, sir, if you can explain a bit on DigiGold and SGB schemes.
What do you want to know about DigiGold and SGB schemes? Maybe. You can actually make, you guys can make the guys speak to me as well, right? No?
Yeah. Yes, we were just reading out all the questions on the chat box, and we'll open that round too.
Yeah, so you come and I'll speak with you on DigiGold separately. I have my very, again, there are certain views that I don't have for general public, so I don't give it on an open forum. But if you want to know something, because I know that certain times when I say something, it just roams around the whole media and then comes back to hit me. So DigiGold, definitely I'm not going to speak about on an open forum.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So, Aditya Sabe is asking, for the people who are about to start investing, which are the stocks to buy?
People who are about to start investing, you can go and invest in large cap stocks. Large cap stocks are stocks which have market capitalization of over 20,000 crores. There is no specific stock that you have. If you go to our site, just go to the large cap stocks and look at the strong buys. Those are good stocks that you can start investing straight away. The other is that look around, even if you are something you don't understand and don't have access to any information, start with your HDFC banks and Infosys and Wipros. Where are you going to go wrong? Start with your experience. Do a treadmill running before you run on the on the main ground, or else you go to a site like ours and figure out what we are saying in terms of various stocks and start picking it up. The reason I'm not giving you top 5 stocks today is मेरे को पता नहीं तुम लोग जाके खरीद लोगे उसको, बाद में बोलोगे मोहित ने बताया नहीं कि कब बेचना है. I will not know, right? I can tell you the top 5 stocks in my system right now. Let me just show you those. Yeah, my top 10 large cap stocks are Dixon Technology, Tech Mahindra, Ambuja Cements, Alkyne Amines. You can see the kind of returns they've given since we've added them. Like Ambuja Cement was added 9 months, it has given 66% return. Alkyne Amines we added as top stocks around 8 months back. You see here, it's given 192% return. It's a strong buy at 84. So all of these are there. You can straight away add it to your watch list or add to your portfolio. Once you've done that, we will keep informing you when to get out of it. These are your top large cap stocks, top 10 across the whole market, top mid cap stocks, small caps. So you will get any of these. Now I can, our top stocks are all here. Tata Steel Long got added 9 months back. The first one that you see delivered 170% return since it got added. So these are some of the stocks you can look at immediately to invest in. Go with the score. We also give a very simple score, 90 out of 100, 90, and a strong buy, whatever. You can go with the score and pick up the top 3 stocks and start doing SIP in it or start investing in it directly.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Shubham Hule has asked, for Nifty, one needs an option account to be activated by the broker.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but you can buy, if you want to buy Nifty, only buy through a mutual fund, no? Why would you go through any pain on that? Just buy an ETF, buy an index fund through a mutual fund. All the mutual funds will have an index fund. You can straight away buy Nifty from there. If you only want to invest in Nifty, then why do you need to go through a broker? You just buy a fund, buy a scheme, Nifty scheme.
Okay, sir. Harshvardhan is asking which kind of instruments should we have in our portfolio besides stocks or mutual funds?
Stocks and mutual funds are the main instruments that you need to have. Otherwise, you can have debt instruments. There is nothing much. The whole world typically comes under equity and debt. And then you have alternates where you have commodities, you have cryptos, you have your gold, and you have your forex or currency trading. All of that happens as the alternate investments. You have equity, debt, and alternates. So you can either play in alternates. Apart from commodity, there is not much depth in India on any of these. So commodities is one area that you can play in alternate. Otherwise, in equity, you can participate through equity markets or through mutual funds. Debt, you can participate through banks or through mutual funds again.
Okay, so Saurabh Maitre has asked if how to invest in Nifty for long term.
How to invest in Nifty for long term?
Long term, yeah.
Again, buy a scheme for long term. You guys know what is Nifty investing, right? Nifty is a selection of 50 stocks. When I say ETF, it is known as exchange traded fund, right? So if you want to invest in Nifty, that means you're investing in all the 50 stocks. Your return will be exactly the same return that Nifty gave, right? So that is known as index investing. Now, for you can't pick up 50 stocks and sit on that and then try and mirror Nifty. And that is the reason mutual funds create ETFs, exchange traded funds, which basically there is an index exchange traded fund, which means that you're buying the whole component Nifty 50, right? So just buy an index ETF and you can keep holding that index ETF and the movement will be exactly how the market moves. It mirrors the movement of Nifty actually. And if you hold it for 5 years, it's long term, you're holding it. Or you're keep investing whenever you have money on a monthly basis on it and you keep holding it. It's long term.
Next up is Amisha Zadar. She is asking, should beginners invest in intraday?
Not at all. Not even beginners, not even experienced. Nobody should invest in intraday. if you ask me. It's a sure recipe of disaster. You must know the basic facts. Over 99% of investors lose money in intraday. So now if you want to do that, it is your wish. If you feel that you're that 1% remaining part of that remaining 1%, but I would not suggest beginners, forget beginners, I would not suggest even the experienced investors to dabble into trading, unless you have some money that you want to just take a casino approach on.
Yes, sir. Aryan asked, you have mentioned about having two jobs. Can you suggest some good passive income sources?
No, when I suggested two jobs, one job is what you have or you will have. The second job is the job of making sure that you're investing your money and you have the discipline of monitoring that money. That is the second job that I was talking about.
Krishna Gupta is asking, sir, what is your take on short trading or daily trading? And what should be the ratio of short-term and long-term investment of your portfolio?
Short-term investment should be 0, long-term should be 100%. It's a straight answer. It is the only answer that will stick with you all your life. Unless you want to donate some money and you want to, if you want to do trading, you can donate that money to us because you're going to lose it anyways. If not today, tomorrow you will lose it. You will be happy one day, you will be sad one day, then happy, sad, and then sad, sad, sad. So it will go like that. So better than trading, donate that money. But if you want to ask me in terms of long-term creators, you guys must have heard of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Any time that he's traded, he's lost money. It is when you look at investors and you look at investors in terms of how over a period of time they create wealth, it's only towards their wealth money. But the thing is that trading is an addiction. It is like Diwali pe teen patti kaun khilta hai? I also play. It is an addiction. On the time of Diwali, we have to play, right? So it is the same thing. Someday you lose, someday you will win, someday you lose, but it will not create wealth for you. It will not make you rich. It will not make you wealthy. So don't make it as your principal strategy. Make it as your enjoyment strategy. But that is not something with which you use that and create, wealth.
Okay, sir. Avdesh, do you want to switch on your mic and ask a question personally?
No.
Okay. He asked, if a person has X amount of rupees saved from his regular job, so should he use the savings to invest in his own business or start investing directly and continue his job?
Depends on what you're comfortable. If you're I can't answer this question because the first thing that you would do is invest in your own business. Right? You have to grow your own business at a certain stage where you say that my growth in the business can deliver 50, 70, 80, 100% return to me. Why would I invest in equity market? And the answer is that you invest in your business. I don't know what your business is and whether it is a profit-making business, loss-making business. If it is a good business, I can't give advice on that. But I would always say that if you're convincing, like today, I would, last 3 years when I started my company, I invested every money out there. Because I wanted to grow my company and there's no other way. Why should I invest and give money to other companies when I can invest in my companies? But I was confident I'll be able to create that. If you have that confidence, please invest only in yourself.
Thank you, sir.
We have Kedar asking, I'm successfully earning great returns from intraday or BTST trading in stocks IPOs since last 2 years. Initially, I made a profit of 180% of capital, but later I had lost that profit and as well as 50% of capital for options. My question is that suggest me some 100% accurate course to master option trading.
I said you cannot, there are a lot of courses that are available, the BSc courses that you can take. So I'm not somebody who can tell you what courses to take on option tradings. And if you made 180% then lost 50% of your principal, you're still excited to go there, right? So I can only tell you, don't do it. If you want to do it, you go through any course. The course is not going to do anything. It is the fluctuation of the market that none of the guys understand. when you are talking, option is becoming a very key word right now, because it is, you are right, a lot of money is going through option trading right now, right? And the problem with our country, guys, is that why is that only 3% of people invest in equity markets? Is because they get burnt out. Look at the scenario. Today, if you say the total scenario, even SEBI comes and says that we are reducing the proportion in which you can give margin to retail people, because retail are not supposed to take margins or take lending and do trading on it, right? So even the regulator is saying the same thing. If you look at the zero brokerage houses, now the transaction cost of doing trading is so low. आप 20 रुपए में per trade कर सकते हो if you go through Zerodha or go through RKSV and all this stuff, right? Why is that it is 20 rupees? Is because people want you to trade. Is that people want you to trade. Does anybody take responsibility of your profits and losses? No. Nobody takes responsibility. A broker typically says whether you make money or you lose money, you give me 20 rupees on every trade. Right? It is your job to make money and to try and understand how I can do that. So trading will, at your age or at any age, will always look like a very lucrative one, because you have short-term insight of whether you're making money or losing money. But ultimately, it is something that on an overall basis, you will lose money. Take it in bold, take it in italics, or uska font size ko double kar lo. You will lose money in the long run, right? So, and there are enough courses on how to die ke to bahut courses hain. So you will get it from BSc, you'll get it from any exchange. You can take any course, but I would personally not suggest you do that.
So we'll start a Q&A round now. So whoever has their questions can raise their hands and I'll call you one by one. Okay, Hargobind Singh has a question.
Good evening, sir. My question is a three-parter. First, I would like to say is, like as a beginner, I don't know anything about what all companies are there which are ready to sell equities. So how do I find reliable or effective equities in which I think I can invest? Then second part, what are the parameters that I can see and assess those equities on, like whether I should invest in them or not? A systematic approach on assessing an equity before investing it. And the third part is, how can I study the technical concepts? What all finance, as you were talking about, that it is not necessary for you to have a finance background in order to become a successful investor. But what are those basic terms and terminologies and the meanings that I should understand and be able to crunch in order to assess whether an equity is worth my investment or not? And then how to make that decision of and calculating the time I should invest in it, and after how like you were talking about, you were saying that I'll tell you the top 5 stocks, but I won't be able to tell you when to get out of them. So how to get that, how to study it in such a way to be able to understand when to get in, when to get out, how to assess equity? That is my question.
Govind, this is a very, what you touched upon is people have spent their careers doing that. So it is not something that can be discussed in terms of how to assess or how to understand how to research a stock. Like, for example, I told you, we look at 500 parameters. We then look at correlations and regression. It's not an easy thing to explain on a call in terms of how you do fundamental analysis. There's technical analysis that we do. Then there's qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis we do, corporate governance ratings we do. So there's a lot of things that go on in researching a stock. Now, this is something that if you want, you can do either of the two things. You may say that my job is, I have to make this as my job. That is, for example, I want to make my career in financial investing. Then you need to go through various courses if you want to make a career out of this. But if your prime aim is principally only to invest and you have no clue about what to do in terms of getting into what kind of companies, the easier way to doing that is invest through a mutual fund. Subscribe yourself to a site like ours, where we will tell you exactly why we are buying a stock. Like, for example, if you go to, again, I'm just showing you an example. Yeah. So if you go to any of the stock page, I'm going to a stock page.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if you go here, we are telling you that score is 90. It is a strong buy, and why it's a strong buy. High management efficiency with ROC of 19.5. Healthy growth rate on net sales has grown at annual rate of 60%. So we give the investor a reason of why it's a buy. You can also download a full-fledged report. So now I'm downloading a research report on this stock. Right. So if I download this whole report, it will tell me, if I want to read and understand finance, it will tell me completely everything about this particular stock.
So this PDF contains all the parameters that the company, that the website used to assess the stock, right?
Absolutely. So it considers all the parameters out there, and even if you were to look at financial trend, valuation. Now, if you go to valuation, and if you look at, you see these eyes, there's an eye box here.
Yes, I can see them.
So all the definitions are there here.
Okay.
So we have given help to people to understand that as well. But if you go through that, you will close to understand, like if you go to quarterly result, kaisa tha uska? You know, it will tell you net sales over the consolidated net profit was up, interest was up. We also have this section where we'll tell you what is right with the company and what is not so right with the company. If I go to the financial trend, what is working for the company, what is not working for the company. So all these factors are there, but it becomes very difficult for one person to understand, because this is a very, very complex job to do. Now, either you have an advisor till the time you learn. You may say that, Mohit, this is my career, I want to learn through this, then you need to make this as a career and a full-time job. If not, then one of the approaches is to invest through mutual funds, because there the fund manager is choosing the stocks for you. Or go like guys like us who have a model portfolio where we'll tell you what are the 10 companies and we'll tell you when to get out. We are doing all the work and analysis for our investors, and we are guiding them out there. Or else you go to a site, subscribe to a site where you say that, okay, I want to understand what are their concepts, because it's there, it's all there. Because you know, it is not today we analyze close to 1 billion data points on a daily basis to give a call. Now, what can I tell you? आपको मैं क्या बताऊं? कौन से points आप देखो? I can't tell you 4 points or 5 points, because it becomes very difficult to understand the subject in one lifetime. You know.
Yes, you've kind of answered my question. It is just basically like, in order to find websites like the website you just showed, and check and rely on the judgments and all the parameters that are assessed by the company, because the website is giving out all the information. And after reading that out, we can, after all, we have to finally make the decision.
Yeah, you have to use the tool.
Yeah. And there's a second question that is not related to investing though. Like I just it was you are the founding member and CEO of Money Control, which has become huge now. So how is that experience like? Because you don't have a very technical background of app development and all of that. And you basically went, after completing your MBA, you started a business. So how was that experience of basically finding people who share the same vision as you, and then getting technical people to help you realize that vision? And what were the ups and downs and the challenges that you faced in order to help Money Control reach where it is today?
So Money Control was an idea which, you know, obviously I would say the younger that you are in life, the better risk you can take. And I was obviously straight out of my first job, and I took that risk. And it is a concept of financial planning that I wanted to start in 98, 97, when nobody even knew the meaning of financial planning in India at that point in time. So the challenges are huge in doing a startup. And typically, I don't come from a tech background. I'm a hardcore finance background guy. And understanding tech was very simple. But the thing that happens is that according to me, tech is this. And I still don't understand tech, right? I still run the most successful advisory business in this country. I still don't understand tech. It's not to say that today I can sit and code and all this stuff. I use support. I use various things that you can do to achieve your target. Your target is what? That you want to, for example, if you say that you want to make the biggest advisory site in India, When you say something like that, then there are tools available. Tech for me is a tool. You get the right people in, you explain them what you want. When they show it to you, you discard it and you say that I am not going to take no for an answer in terms of what I'm creating. And slowly the team adapts to that. So in 98 also, there were tech guys that were available who used to think I'm completely crazy when I was developing money control. But when we were doing that, I had a very specific dream that I want to create a financial planning system which Indians can follow and can achieve their financial planning goals and advisory goals. And that we were, subject matter was there. So when you have the subject matter, tech is a tool. Everything else is a tool. Right? That's how I see it. So वो tool को tool की तरह use करना चाहिए, उसके साथ ज़्यादा romance नहीं करना चाहिए. So for example, even today in Markets Mojo, when I look at technology, for me it's tool. I only tell people what I want. You figure it out. तुम उसको Python में करो, तुम उसको LAMP में करो, तुम जो करना है करो उसका. लेकिन I want the answers to be coming out like this. People think I am a tech expert, but I can tell you inside news, in between you and me, zero tech knowledge. Coding knowledge nahi hai. I can understand tech that people can't make a fool out of me. Right? So I can understand deadlines, I can manage projects, I can do all of that stuff, but I'm not a tech guy. Now, prima facie, the challenges that you will face is that your idea will get challenged. It will get rejected. It always happens. First, people will challenge your idea. First, your family members will laugh at it. Right? They will laugh at you. You know, why would you want to do that? You are such an educated guy, you got a good job, why do you want to leave and all this stuff? So you get laughed upon. Then you will have some of your friends will say, yeah, dude, do it. I'm with you, do it. As soon as you start doing it, all those family friends will go away. They will all run away. They will leave you alone. So you have to be very ready for all of this, that people are going to run away, right? Because when you look at people, when you're doing business, they will look at you as if you are going to ask money, right? So you're not asking money, you just want to talk to some people, but they will also run away. So you have to be very ready to be very alone in that journey. And you have to really say that, boss, am I going to stick in this journey or not? 90% of the businesses fall in the first 3 years of launch. So my golden rule for doing any business is that 3 saal tak to I will not fail. So I should have enough money to last for 3 years. I should have enough inclination, motivation to last for 3 years, right? And I have to make sure that 3 years tak to I will not fall. So as soon as I do that, your chance of failure comes down to 10%. Then the fun starts. 4th year mein adaptability aati hai, acceptability aati hai. 5th year mein people start looking at you in a very different way, and wo sare relatives and friends come back to you because now you're growing a little bit out there. And then it's a question of what is your vision? Is your vision creating a small place, or vision should be vision? If it doesn't scare you, it's not a vision. Vision should scare the shit out of you. Like when I started Markets Mojo, and when I looked at it, I said, I want to create the largest stock advisory firm in the world. Ab India mein to kar liya na money control. Now again, if I want to do this, that's not my vision only. Right? And today we are present in 20 countries. So we want to create the largest in the world. That's the vision. Again, the base logic was the same. Again, a lot of people ran away. People that I had made careers of in their life, when I wanted them to join me, they didn't. Today they are running after me with their CV. So that cycle was same rehta hai. You will have rejection. You will have people laughing at you. All of those will happen. You have to stick in a plan. You should have a 3-year no-fail plan. If you can survive for 3 years, you can thrive. And if you can survive for 5 years, then you will meet your dream. Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, sir, and congratulations to you for your journey.
Neeraj has raised his hand, so Neeraj, go.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My question is, I've lot of times I've heard this word asset when it comes to stocks and stock market, right? So, what is generally the asset management, and in a corporate point of view, the MNC guy? How does MNC guy looks at asset management?
No, asset management is, see, asset क्या होता है? You know the meaning of asset, नीरज? दो चीज होती है, एक होता है asset और एक होता है liability, right? So what is asset? हमारे पास लाइफ में दो ही चीज होती हैं, एक जो पैसा हमारे पास है और एक जो पैसा हमें किसी को देना है. It is known as what you own and what you owe somebody else. So what you own is your asset, what you owe somebody else is liability. So asset liability, right? Asset is जो मेरे पास है, liability वो है जो मेरे को देना है. तो मेरे जो भी सारे loans हैं वो liability हो गए, मेरा घर हो गया, my bank account, my jewelry, everything is my asset, right? So this is my asset and this is my liability. So when you say you are asset management is nothing but companies that manage my assets. So अब मैं, if I want to today, you say AMC, asset management company, वो क्या करता है? Client का asset को manage करता है. मेरे पास जो है, what I owe, they will manage it. Whether it is property, whether it is equity, whether it is money, shares, whatever it is, they will do asset management, right? Liability is something that you have to pay. Your EMI is a liability. Your net worth क्या होता है? So net worth is typically what are you worth today. So for example, if I give you an example, just as an example, is let's assume that I have 1 crore lying in stocks, 1 crore in FD, and I have a 2 crore home loan. So my total is 4 crores, 1 crore in equity, 1 crore in FDs or savings account, and 2 crores in, say I have a home of 2 crores. So total is 4 crores. But agar this is what I owe, ये मेरा asset हो गया. What I owe somebody else, let's assume I have taken a 1 crore ka home loan, right? So then this 4 crores minus that 1 crore, because liability mera 1 crore ho gaya, I have to give this 1 crore out, right? So that is the 1 crore that I will give out. So 4 minus 1, 3 crores becomes my net worth. So asset management companies will manage the assets that you hold. That's as simple as that. Concept is मेरे पास क्या है और मुझे देना क्या है, यही है asset and liability.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So Atharva Tadke is asking, what are your Sensex or Nifty predictions in 2030?
No predictions. Nobody can do any prediction. Astrologer से पूछ लो आप लोग. मैं कोई prediction करता नहीं हूँ. I am only telling you I'm very bullish. 1 year you can go right, 1 year you can go wrong. A lot of people will come out with very intelligent questions. I'm not a very intelligent man. They'll come out with very intelligent calculations. Say ये 17% growth होना चाहिए. I frankly will tell you, straight from the heart, nobody knows what growth. I can only tell you that if you stay invested, disciplined in the next 3 to 5 years, you will easily generate more than 20% returns in the equity. We don't care where the market goes, no. You should be invested in the right stocks. Let the market go where it goes, no. Market क्या है? Index क्या है? What is Nifty? Nifty is 50 companies. There are 4,000 listed companies. Right? Most of the retail investors don't invest in those 50 companies. They invest outside. So when you look at market, according to me, market is 4,000 companies. How many companies are growing, advancing? How many companies are declining? Forget the market. Take the market fear only out. So there are situations where the market is down 20%, but you're still up 100%. By investing, by understanding and investing in the right stocks. Otherwise, this is all a projection of where the markets will grow and all this stuff. So markets can be flat, but you need to make money. Markets can be down, but you need to make money. Markets can be up, then you definitely need to make money. Because I'll have to do a rain check in 4 minutes. I have another call at 6:30.
Yes, sir. We'll quickly take one last question and then we'll wind up.
Yeah.
So Neer had raised his hand, but okay, we'll take okay.
So how to do the fundamental and technical analysis means? On what basis we can do that analysis?
Yeah, that is exactly what sorry, go on.
And other question is, can we buy Nifty without mutual funds? Like without the help of mutual funds, can we directly buy ETF funds?
Yeah, you can buy ETFs directly. And fundamental technical investing, Neer, is a very, very broad topic. I mean, I can't tell you in 3 minutes how to do fundamental and technical analysis. As I said that if you go to the site and look at the whole research report. It has a fundamental section, fundamental analysis, and it has a technical analysis as well. So these are fundamental analysis are long-term, analysis on the company's growth per se, which is उसका P&L कैसे growth कर रहा है, cash flows, balance sheets, and all of that stuff. Their current set of growth in terms of their cash flows, their last quarter results, and so on and so forth. Technical analysis is basically how is the price movement versus the earnings. So उसका price कैसे move हो रहा है. Both of these go hand in hand. You buy a stock which is fundamentally good and also fundamentally recently doing good, last quarter result should be good, as well as technically it should be in a bullish or a mildly bullish kind of range. And then you will not go wrong because you picked up a stock which is long-term fundamentally good as well as this. So all of this you will get it on the side. If you go and check it out for 5 minutes, you will come to know. It's very difficult otherwise to explain you in 5-7 minutes how to do fundamental and technical analysis.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. Here we come towards the end of this seminar. I would like to express my vote of thanks to Dr. Mohit Batra for squeezing time out of his very busy schedule for us. It was a great time hearing to an oracle like you. I hope everyone is taking something out of this seminar. We at FAC SPIT aim to spreading financial literacy among students. I hope we have reached our aim today.
Yes, sir. I would give my regards and appreciation to all the people who made this occasion a reality and this institution successful. This could not have been possible without the sheer contribution and active participation of you all. Thank you once again, sir, for taking out your time from your schedule and educating us.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you,
you
guys.
so much, sir.
Yeah, see you soon somewhere. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes, sir.
So we wind up over here. Thank you all for participating and attending this event.